Okay, so welcome everybody joining the broadcast here for the Strathcona Cup, the 2023 edition. If you don't know what the Strathcona Cup it is a curling competition of Scottish curlers and Canadian curlers, and it has been going on for the last 120 years. And happy to have Ken Armstrong with us from the Milton Club and one of the organizers of the group as well. Ken, how's the first couple days been going so far?
Well, the guys are learning to sleep together, so, they're starting to meld.
Yes.
And they're holding their own. They're quite happy with today's progression. But we got off to a rough start. I mean, we did end up with 40 curlers flying into Toronto on Wednesday, but we only got 16 bags.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, so we were only missing 24.
The life of that.
Yeah, so we've had our own experiences.
Right.
Then 20 guys went to Eastern Canada, and I'm hosting the 20 guys here in Ontario called the Central Tour.
Tremendous. So we're concentrating on Sheet 4 here in the Fergus Curling Club here today. It is a little later getting started for us here, but this is the last rock for Team Henderson. Looks like they're sitting 2 currently and trying for a third, but he was a little heavier on his first rock, so he's probably still trying to judge the ice here today. So there are 4 games going on. Certainly teams from Fergus versus teams from this Scottish tour group that is here. And we'll introduce the participants on Sheet 4 in a moment. But Ken, just talk a little bit about this cup. It's been going on for 120 years, and they come every 5 years. Either Canada comes to Scotland and vice versa. So haven't been on here for 10 years. Just talk about the organization and how this event is done.
Well, it is a piece of Canadian history, and basically, if I ask everybody at home if they go to their passport and they turn to page 11 of their passport, they'll see a guy named, the Final Spike. And the guy with the top hat, his name is Donald Smith, Alexander Smith, and it later became Lord Strathcona. And he is actually the guy that donated this trophy 125 years. I think this is the 125th anniversary.
Yes.
So 125 years ago, he donated this trophy to this competition. He was also a curler and president of one of the curling associations back in Scotland as well.
So pretty interesting about this as well. So the Scottish group goes to different curling clubs across the region. So there's 3 different groups: a Western, a Central, which is mainly Ontario, and then an Eastern one. And it is the total points.
That's right.
So it could be 1,600 to 1,599 for a winner.
Well, that would be an exciting finish on the final day if it was that close. So fortunately enough, I was chosen one of 40 curlers to participate 5 years ago when 40 curlers get invited to Scotland to participate in the Strathcona Cup. And I think our final score was 1,600 to 1,400. So, and all games count, all 8 ends need to be played. So,
and it's 350 games.
Exactly.
Which is, quite incredible for what of the 3 groups from the different regions of Canada. There's going to be 1,400 Canadian curlers taking part in this. So a great experience for those people who never played in an international bonspiel like we see today.
That's right. So we'll maybe start introducing some of the players as they go to throw their shots here. I know one thing for sure. They've played on 2 rinks so far, and they're quite enjoying the ice conditions. So they're getting a little bit used to the ice. I would say our ice conditions here in Canada are quite more exceptional than what they play on in Scotland. Some of their facilities over there are dual use, so it could be skating Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and only curling on Thursday, Fridays.
Yes.
So
yes.
It's tough for the ice makers to make good ice over there.
Right. So just coming out of the hack now was Paul Hudson, and he's part of the Spirit of the York team. Paul's actually just been going for the last year and a half, but with some good luck. Him and his wife won the mixed championship here at the Fergus Curling Club last year with another couple, and being in the military for many years. So he said he curled in Winnipeg about 40 years ago, and then when he came back here, he said we need to get going back curling again. Cool. Leading on the Scottish team was Neil Strachan. Neil has been curling for 21 years, very active in his curling club, being a president over the years, secretary, treasurer at different clubs. And somebody that's really been helping in the junior curling as well, just not his own personal. And we always appreciate when people help the young people out as well.
Yeah, it's the growth of the sport. I mean, basically you have to have a succession plan, and as much as curling sort of has extended its life for the older people, because there are stick curling now. You don't necessarily have to bend in the hack and slide out. There's quite a few stick curlers, and they're pretty darn good at it too.
Oh yeah, they get pretty lethal. That's for sure. Yeah. That's for sure. So here, just in the second end, Canada's sitting, or the Fergus team, I should say, is sitting to delivering the second rocks is Scott Gordon. And Scott and his family have been active people here in the Fergus Curling Club over the years. His wife Katrina and his daughters have curled here. Now his daughters are off to university and still curling in Ottawa and Kingston as well, because they just have that great love of the sport. So nice draw in, maybe just a little deep here, but a double opportunity for Team Henderson.
So Scotland's got to start getting rid of some rocks here. So this is their second's last shot, and fourth shot of the end for him, or for their team. So he's coming down here with not too big a weight. Could be a bit wide.
Yeah, it runs a little straighter down that center line. And shooting that shot was Alan Campbell, and he's actually the tour secretary. So we want to be good friends with the guy with the money, but Alan's got a lot of experience as well, 40 years of curling. And I thought he had one of the most interesting occupations of the people here. He was the international sales manager for Walker's Shortbread. Who wouldn't want to work for a cookie company for a long period of time? I thought that was certainly a fun occupation for him. Still, he's really happy to be involved in the game in his time of his life, and really happy to come here to Canada to be part of this.
Well, Jason, that sort of now explains the box of shortbread that was given out just in Elora to all the kitchen staff for all their volunteerism. So
Alan had an in.
He had an in on that.
Alan had an in. I'm sure they weren't stuff that they weren't supposed to sell in Scotland, and they just brought them to get rid of them. But anyways, all good. That next shot by the second just got a little heavy through the rings. And now another opportunity for the Henderson team here to eliminate a rock.
So this the third. I actually had a couple drinks with him the past couple nights. He seems to find the hospitality room.
Well, he is a farmer.
He is a farmer. Oh yeah.
And knowing been to many farming events over my lifetime, the best conversations are in the hospitality suite. So
yeah.
That is Stuart Barr. Stuart, yes, is a farmer, 36 years of curling, but lots of activity in over the years, and some farmer championships in his repertoire of wins there as well.
Yep, they call it the Yarrow.
And what does that mean?
Yarrow, that's the sponsor's name.
I see.
Yeah, and so he's he's played in it probably all 36 years, but he did win it once, and that's sort of his championship, the Yarrow Championship. There's about 80 teams that he was telling me that sign up for it.
Okay.
It's all sponsored, and Yarrow, I think, might be a fertilizer company, farm fertilizer company over there, and
sure.
It's quite the deal, I guess, if you're a farmer and you curl, it's all a free week. So I can understand why.
And that's the other thing. Farmers love free stuff as well.
Yeah. You can charge them more for the fertilizer, but as long as they get it free curling, they're okay with it.
They're good with it. No problem.
No problem.
So the Fergus team splitting the house here, putting another one over on the 8-foot, sitting 2. So looking for them to just come around the outside here. Looks like they'll probably try to freeze back to that Fergus Red Rock. Edging them on, a little light on the weight. Maybe get a bit of a split here or push it back into the house a little bit. But it curls quite a bit in that section, so.
Well, his weight wasn't all bad. Just curled away.
Just curled a little bit more, but.
Way more than they thought.
Yeah.
Or a lazy handle. So he's got some work left for the skipper to do. Or else they're going to give those 2 points right back again.
Right, yep. So throwing a third Vice Rock for Team Fergus is Callum McGeechee. And Callum is certainly a great person for us here at the Fergus Curling Club. He is the president of the club, but he also help lead us through the whole pandemic aspect of things. And that was certainly appreciated in getting people safely back, to curling as well. So a certain passion for curling. Coaches in the youth aspect of things too, and nice draw weight coming in for counting 3 now for Fergus.
So Alan's Billy, I think, might be looking at a takeout, but Alan's coerced him into playing this freeze. Freeze against 3 in the second end is not an easy shot.
So you called him, his name is Stuart Barr.
Oh, Stuart Barr.
But it's actually pretty interesting. I know an Alan Barr.
Oh, do you?
Who is a good Ayrshire farmer in Quebec. So I wonder if there might be some relation.
I don't know.
There, you never know. But yeah, looking to come back and freeze here. Why wouldn't you try the takeout here instead?
I think there's a good chance to make a double for sure. A couple different ways. But I have heard rumors that Billy likes to draw, so if he gets his draw weight down and he makes this shot off the bat, he might be a tough guy to beat today.
Right. It's hanging a little bit, but sometimes it starts to curl here once it hits the hog, but it's just maybe a touch heavy. It's going to just move that Red Rock back to the edge of the 12. So they are sitting shot, but it's quite a wide open shot here for Fergus. So as he heads down to the other end in the white cap is Rick Marshall. Rick has been a member here, he told me today, 35 years. And Rick is one of our more consistent curlers here at the Fergus Curling Club. Had many championship titles of many different leagues. And now is in his retirement, he's a little bit more active, actually helping as an ice maintenance assistant too. So lots of time here at the club, which is something that he really enjoys.
So he's come down, it looks like about hack weight. He hopes this doesn't over curl. Sweepers are on it.
Yeah, he's going to hit the inside and roll for sure.
Oh, and he.
So even the home team a little surprised by how the ice was moving on that one. But there's a lot on the edge of the 8-foot here, so trying to determine who's shot in second and third and fourth.
So
they're going
to So they're going to try and draw down, and second shot sometimes is the best guard that you can make. But he's going to get the second one in the house, and probably a pretty safe shot. He just threw the draw,
right?
So. But the hardest shot in curling, as I said to Wayne Madod last night, was making the same shot twice.
Right. You're always confident in the hack you can do it, but it doesn't always turn out the same. And that is curling.
Yeah.
That is curling. Billy Henderson here delivering the skip for this team. Lots of great accolades in his history of curling as well. And they'll be a little bit more careful on the curl here.
I think it's going to over curl.
Yeah, I think he's going to be hitting this, but not with enough force to put him in a shot rock position, though. Pretty close, but not quite.
So what do we got out there?
So, yeah, it looks like Fergus here with the hammer. If they take out this yellow, it's a chance for 4.
Yeah.
So Rick's just got to probably throw that same kind of line, just a little bit more weight, maybe to stop that extra curl. But looks like they're taking pretty close to the same kind of ice as they did the last time. So he'll be playing that backline weight.
Well, he doesn't have to be so cute on this one. Even if he hits and rolls out, he's still going to score 3.
For sure.
So good recovery after the first end.
Yes.
So you got a bit more weight. Sweepers are still on it.
Yep, so maybe he's a little inside. But once again, he needs to just tick it a little bit for them to be able to score a few more. And, oh, that was a tick. It was a tick. So kind of indicates that there's just a 1 red on this one. But
well, Billy will be taking a big breath. Sigh of relief.
Yeah. Lost opportunity for 1, but they're going to go to the measure. Why not?
Wow. So, yeah, Billy Henderson, actually, 5 years ago when I was in Scotland, I got to play Billy up in Aberdeen. That's his home club. And, you know, whenever you're playing a prior Scottish champion, which he did in 1979, I believe that was the year he won the Scots.
Yeah, 1980 Reed's here. Yeah.
Yep. You're kind of shaking in your boots, but anyway, we went out there and we actually won our game. But he's quite a nice guy.
Sure.
And good storyteller. I'll tell you a quick story. We got a bit of time here, but because he actually was a competitive curler, but he ended up going on a tour, a curling tour in Switzerland, and a few years later, and the tour group, one of the side tours was to a winery. One of the curlers owned a winery or a farm and a winery, and so anyway, they're in this winery, and so all 20 curlers, there was this elevator that. It was a freight elevator that for moving wine up and down the hill, I guess, or something. So they all jumped on. The guy said, "Yeah, go get on. We'll take the elevator or take the freight elevator down." Well, if the freight elevator was overloaded, I guess, and it dropped, and friggin' 20 guys ended up almost in the hospital. He ended up actually quite seriously injured.
Wow!
And he sort of ended his competitive curling career.
Jeez.
Yeah. But then they were down in France or Switzerland. Had to get home to Scotland somehow, but anyway, it happened.
Wow. Lucky. So the measure gave the second stone to the Fergus club, so we're tied at deuces here. Like we mentioned, you know, the youth aspect of things, some of these curlers helping out the youth. We do have our Fergus Lions Club here today, and they've been a sponsor of our Little Rocks Junior program for many, many years. So certainly appreciate the work that they've done over the years, you know, for providing that program and to our youth. And some of them go on to other clubs and curl, and some stay here, but I think we all know that it's such a fun sport to play.
So what
you got to start when you're young.
Little Rockers now?
Little Rocks, I believe, start around 7 years old, something to that effect, and
right.
And then juniors once they get into the early teens as well. So
right. I should probably have known that because my granddaughter started curling this year. And they actually, I never heard them call it Little Rockers anymore, but that's a common thing.
Yeah.
And my daughter Lee, is helping out coaching them on Sunday afternoons down in Milton. But yeah, you definitely need the new curlers in, and they all seem to be a good group of kids, so it's a good social time and a good circle. I'm not so sure curling's all that important to them, but they go and meet their friends, have fun.
With anything with youth, there's got to be a good social component of it for sure. So definitely.
Well, at least I know that that's 2 hours a week that she's not on her mini iPad.
Yeah, exactly. Time to get out of the house.
Right.
So lead rocks exchanged here. Scotland's decided to put their guard up. Fergus kind of went behind that one.
Little deep.
This one, a little deep. This one looks like it's tracking a little bit around the tee, but he might be a little short, but close to freezing back to that red rock, and looks like he has. Nice shot. Ken, you're still curling in Milton at the curling club there?
Yeah, I play, actually, I got demoted from skip to vice. My daughter took over the skipping duties, so that's my daughter Lee. And then we play with, actually the ice maker plays on our team, and we're still in the A group. And then another night of the week, they started a new league in Milton this year at 6 o'clock. And it's for curlers that are want to get more competitive, and it's a sort of it's a rotation draw, so you play with the same team for 3 weeks. But it's kind of enjoyable for me to teach those that want to learn the game more about the game.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
So it's sort of my opportunity to go out and help grow the club and help those curlers become more competitive.
We talk a lot about, just being able to deliver a rock properly and hitting the broom and weight, but the overall strategy of it is a thing that you have to learn a lot over time.
It's a game of chess on ice. It's probably the best way to describe it. So.
Yeah, that's a good one for sure. For sure. And every end's a little different. Every end has a little bit more importance.
Exactly.
As well.
And pretty much in the game of curling, there's always a winner and always a loser. In today's event, oddly enough, ties won't be broken. So all 8 ends are played because we're just playing for a total score of all of Canada.
Right.
So it's a little bit different than your normal curling game where there's an extra end that's played.
Correct.
To decide a winner.
Yes.
Except for maybe some of your social draws.
So opportunity for Fergus here to come down and freeze that pile, but just a little tight, just racking on the guard, but opportunity to open up that back end a little bit more if Rick Marshall's looking for a takeout later on. So I'm not sure if you can see it quite on your screen or if you've ever been here to the Fergus Curling Club, but the sheets are usually 1, 2, 3, 4, but they're 1, 8, 3, 4 here.
Yes.
And that is because that is our founding year of the Fergus Curling Club, 1834. It is the longest running curling club in all of Ontario. Here in Fergus, pretty proud of that.
That's right. And what I found out, or Les and I, what we maybe found out, hopefully it's when I approached Les Hunter for Fergus and Elora to host this event a couple years ago. To our knowledge, the Strathcona Cup has never ever been hosted by either club, and which seemed pretty odd, being the home of the Scottish Highlands.
Yes.
So this is probably the first time. That's not to say we do know that there was Fergus curlers or Elora curlers that have played in the event, but those they were maybe invited to play in Guelph or
other areas,
but they have never hosted. So with it being the 125th anniversary of this event, and got such a great Scottish history here in Fergus.
Yeah, definitely.
It just seemed like a natural place for us to stop on the tour.
Yes.
And the hospitality this morning at Elora was fantastic, and I don't know what to expect.
Oh,
Les hasn't told me everything. So.
Well, it'll be as good or better.
Oh, yeah. But
Scotland made a really nice shot here, hit and roll in back into that pile in the back of the 8 and 12 foot. So I think they're sitting about 2. Kellum tried to draw up to it, but was a little light, so sitting up high. So looks like Henderson's instructing for a guard to kind of sit here because they're probably sitting about 2 in the back of the house.
If you can corner freeze the top red, or actually get just behind the corner, the back red, or that top red, he could be in good shape for a 3-ender himself.
Yep. So Stuart Barr making his first shot, his first vice shot. He's to curl quite a bit. It's got a little touch wide, but I think his weight is right on. And it finished pretty nicely. Nice shot.
So that leaves Callum with, they'll draw the 4-foot. I'm sure it can be done.
Well, they're looking at a couple options here, either tapping their own up or coming around, and so they're going to go with that draw.
Yeah, Callum just gave him the wave, said, give me that in turn.
Yep.
So he looks a little wide.
Well, yeah, there's a longer story behind that.
I don't mean physically, he's a little wide on the
well,
shot.
Kenny, I wasn't going to say anything, but I will defend my friend Callum. He's a strong individual.
That's right.
Yes, his family is standing right behind me right now, and his wife said he is a beautiful human being.
You know, he wasn't only wide, he was wide and heavy on that shot. No, those are 2 words. That's when you describe a shot. That's in mixed curling. It doesn't go over well.
No. There are many curling jokes that are not to be repeated for sure.
Yeah.
So an opportunity here for.
He had a pick or burnt the rock. Yeah.
Yeah. So that opportunity to put a guard up.
Listen, if I can just get this guy. Well, just forewarn people, we're going to be taking a break at the 4th end.
Yes.
And so far I've been coaching the guys. Just try and keep it tight till the 4th end, and then they have a 4th end break and stack the brooms event.
Okay.
And we're much stronger in the last 4 ends. It seems we have an advantage over the Canadian teams.
Gotcha.
After the amine juice, what they have in the 4th end.
I see some small little red cups going out, so I don't think they're full of water. So Rick Marshall trying to make that draw. Line looks a little better here.
Yeah,
Brushers, here they go. Starting to make that nice cut.
They got to stay on it. So,
he's passed. If he can get to that top of the 4, that'll be a beauty shot, but it looks like he's pretty much rested back in that same pile.
Back in the 8.
Wow, that finished quite nicely, but there's still that button opportunity here now again for Scotland to go right in.
So Billy's got no chance of getting rid of the red, and if Billy's got a chance here, still the score is 2 with 2 nice draws. That's what we call the skipper's deuce. So both points scored by the skipper.
Right.
The rest of the team was of no help.
At that point in time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I see in Billy's bio is one of his hobbies. His first one is shooting, so he may be a pretty sharp shooter here if he draws this in right to the button.
He'll have to be.
I say this line looks a little wider than what Rick's was. Now his weight looks like close to that T-line weight. Sweepers are working here, but it's going to sit out there a little bit. So opportunity for Rick Marshall to either tap and then roll in.
I think Fergus could be sitting one.
Yep.
Yeah,
I would say they're sitting on the edge of the 4 right now.
So he's got a couple options here, whether it is to play a straight draw, and certainly that'll make Billy's draw to the 4 foot.
But would this be an opportunity at that time to, but maybe Rick's a little bit more confident in his draw weight, but he could have tapped his own red in the top of the 12 there if he really wanted to, but
Would leave a pretty simple shot for Billy, just raising his red shot, or his yellow then.
sure enough.
Yeah, as a backup. This way, cuts down the percentage. You know, Billy's going to have to draw the T-line edge of the 4 if Rick makes this good draw.
Taking a bit of a path that hasn't been used a lot. Sweepers aren't on it, so
Papa doesn't have the hammer.
usually once again by the hog line she'll start to go. So guard here.
So, Stuart, I think Billy's sort of made the decision. I'm not sure what decision he's made.
Well, I think he's just going to probably try to bite the edge of the 4. There must be enough room there.
Doesn't look like much ice, but that's why we're up here.
Exactly. We were not asked to curl. If he really wants to be dangerous, he could do a tap raise,
Yeah.
but he's coming out with pretty much draw weight, coming out wide enough that out on that side he should be able to get around the edge there. It looks like it's staying maybe a little bit too wide here for him.
So, there you go. Steal a 1. Rick did make a great shot,
Yep.
you know, and doesn't look like it's an easy draw because not too many of the draws were made. They're mostly heavy.
Yep.
So
Both teams just trying to get a bit more feel of the ice, but after 3, it's 3-2 Fergus.
yeah. So just give you an update on the other sheets. On sheet 1, Canada is leading Scotland 4-3, and they're just playing the 4th end now. The 3rd end's almost finished on sheet 2. Scotland's up 2-0. Yeah, but Canada has a chance here to maybe get their deuce back. And on sheet 3, they just finished the 3rd end. And looks like a tight one. They must have had a blank end, so it's, Scotland stole one. So they got 1 in the first, so they're up 2-0. So overall, if we did the totals, currently when we look at the scoreboard, it's 9 points for Canada, or for Scotland, sorry, and 7 points for Canada. So the score is 9-7. Before they hang in another number.
Yeah. Might change a little bit. So we got some higher guards here coming up on sheet 4.
This could be a lot of rocks in play. When you get that 2 guard right off the bat, none in the house. So Rick got the high guard. It's not his favorite spot. And then they've ended up with the 2-zone card. Scotland did. So You get another guard up front here now. It could be a messy end. Almost all the rocks in play.
Which for a team that, the team that's trying to steal, it's a bit of an advantage to have a few more rocks out front. That the other team makes it a little harder for the other team maybe to take out the one that you have shot. But certainly if you have the hammer, you want to have that center open there to get to the 4-foot.
So again, this is first one of the button could win the end. So Al Stratton here is got the first opportunity. Trying to be the first one in.
But he might be a little deep here. The sweepers haven't got on it, but here it's starting to come down now a little bit. Might be a back of the house kind of shot, but it hung in really nicely. But when you're at the back of the house, you got an opportunity to come right up against it there too. And it looks like that's what Rick is going to try to do. Ask Scott Gordon to get one in about top of the 8, bite the 4.
This one?
Just where everybody's playing. Where everybody was playing.
What position?
So Scott's going to be a little tight here. Oh, he's sliver by that center guard. Great shot by Scott.
That's the keeper.
Scott, dairy farmer, he's got nice soft hands. Puts that right in there.
And we'll get him and Stuart to compare hands at the end of the game.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, myself coming from the egg community as well, it was kind of pretty interesting to see how many farmers are part of this Scotland group. And Scott being one of our local dairy farmers here.
So he's going to be shot, but he's going to be open.
Yeah.
So it does give Rick quite a good opportunity here if he ever makes a hit or roll. Be shaping up for another steal.
Yeah, nice kind of backline weight, backline hack weight. Take this out and a little roll over. Yeah, they're being pretty good shape after the first half of this end. Just tracking a little wide here. It's going to have to curl to get any kind of tip of it.
There's
so by the crowd, you can tell he missed that shot.
Crowd's going crazy.
Yeah.
And there's a good turnout here today.
And really good turnout. And you're right, because of the Scottish heritage, a few people here to watch the game and asking, for a few of them, why they were here to watch. And they'd actually met some of these gentlemen in different Rotary tours and other opportunities that they had in Scotland. So it's pretty nice when you get to meet somebody from another country and they come to your home country, so you can maybe show them a little bit of your own hospitality.
I actually had a client come see me today. I knew where I was going to be in Fergus.
Okay.
So, somebody I dealt with over the phone. I don't think I've seen them for 10 or 15 years.
Right.
And with technology, you don't have to necessarily see people as often as you used to.
Exactly. So pretty nice weight there on that shot, coming at the top of the 4, but pretty easy double. If Callum can hit this just off nose, just tracking a little wide on this one as well. Might actually just be picking off a bit of it, but enough to remove it.
You got the top one.
So you said, yeah, a lot of people here to watch the game today, and unfortunately we weren't able to see the initial start, but the teams were piped on the ice, and that is a Fergus tradition here for any bonspiel that we run. The Fergus pipe band does practice here, and part of their commitment is to pipe teams on the ice for every bonspiel. So it's always a pretty special feeling. You come to a bonspiel and to have that kind of entrance onto the ice is pretty nice. So high guard here, but maybe just over curled a little bit. And Neil knows the lead for the Scotland group that it did over curl a little bit, and now given this opportunity, maybe that backline weight just to get a little bit of curl to finish, so then Callum can make this shot.
No, Callum's come down. It's dropped his weight a bit compared to that first one.
Yeah. Rick calling them on. But they got room. Nice room. Great shot. Little bit of a roll, but I'd say it's still a little bit exposed on that side to make a draw into that pack of pair there for the Scotland group. He's coming with quite a bit of weight. They're just going to try to pick this rock out. Unfortunately, he just kept it in play. It's pretty even now between those two red rocks, what's first or second, but it really doesn't matter. They're both counting for the Fergus team.
So Stewart's put his skip in a bit of a pickle here. There's not going to be much of the 4 foot left for Billy to draw to. But
what was your terminology if the skip got both?
Skipper's deuce.
Skipper's deuce will be pretty hard on this end for sure.
But now that I think about it, if you go back to the second end, Billy still does have this out-turn draw to this back red and the back four. So he knows that shot. So this is the right shot for Rick to play, is to play this cut down 4 foot on that side.
Right.
Because it's much more wide open. But
well, the front ends hasn't put a broom to it quite yet. Maybe looks a little deep. Callum's checking his the time on this one, but he's going to take this rock to the back of the house. Doesn't want the Scotland team to have anything to hit or draw up against. So now it's Billy's turn to try to make the draw to the button here.
We all know what he said. Don't read his lips.
I think Rick's not happy with that because he knew the way to miss that shot. And we'll talk about curling, that sometimes it's almost like the game of pool. It's not what you make, it's what you leave.
Right.
And so in that situation, Rick could have been short by 4 or 5 feet and still would have made a shot.
Yeah. The guard was what he wanted.
Yeah.
The guard is not what he threw.
No.
Maybe a rock out of the same path here. Front end is not. Looks like it's going to come to the back of the house as well, and sweep by Callum. It pops the red rock off. So Rick's going to try this again. Rick doesn't miss twice, I tell you that much. Played enough against him. So it's opportunity now to put a guard up, block that 4 foot, seeing that the Scotland team does have the hammer here in this end.
Well, Billy can't be too happy with his own shot. He's not even coming down to this end of the ice. So
he'll let his vice make the next call.
Yeah. But this may force him to played that shot that he did make in the second end, that out-turn draw to the back 8, or the back red. Merck looks better on his week this time. They could draw, they'll definitely probably get it in as far as they can and lay 3.
Yeah, they just need to bite the 8
foot, yeah.
And he did.
Yep.
By the 8. And
Well,
really,
you're bang on there, Jason. Rick didn't miss a shot twice.
no. However, they still think that this is the line to go for.
Yeah, they all do. Oh, yeah, there's a shot out there. They put it on top of the
So the final rock of the 4th end.
You better wait. The sweepers are not here. They are on it now, so it's in the hands of the sweepers.
It's making a pretty nice finish here.
Got to get a
Very
big
nice
piece of the
finish.
four. There's a heck of a shot.
Yeah. Great weight control, but they're going to be looking at this one here, but looks like, yeah, 1 yellow. Nice shot by Billy Henderson, the skip of the
Scottish
Auchen Stockton team.
Distillery.
It's a distillery, and
That's
so
right.
it's pretty interesting. All the teams have different names. And this one is Auchentoshan.
Yep.
You can pronounce that?
Oshitoshan.
Oshitoshan.
So I'll tell you, you can Google that, but
Okay.
I'll tell you a little story about that. That was one of the distillery tours that we did when we went to Scotland in 2018. And I'm not a real big Scotch drinker, but if you Google that Oshitoshan distillery, you notice there's a lot of white long barn buildings, all painted white.
Okay.
So my theory on the whole thing was that how they made their Scotch there was that they painted the barns white, then they scraped the paint, wait till it got old, scraped the paint off the barn, put it in a bottle, and let it ferment.
Oh, gee.
That's and then they repaint the barns again. That's my theory how they made it.
There you go.
So this is
What's the tradition here?
this is called stacking the brooms.
Okay.
At the end of the 4th end. And so our games right now are only 10, they're 8-end games. But going back in the history of the Strathcona Cup, and I was looking at a tour book from 1950 when Canadians went to Scotland. And they played 2 games a day. The game in the morning was a 10-end game.
Okay.
No, it was a 12-end game,
Oh, gee.
and then in the afternoon they took a break and they played another 10-end games after.
Wow.
10-end games after that. So
12 ends, that's 3 hours.
oh yeah, so they were on. I don't think the first game never ended until 1 o'clock.
Wow.
And then the second game was so they were playing I think 18 to 20 ends a day in 1950, and the same number of games over the same period of time from first week of January to the first week to the beginning of February. So stacking the brooms this is a tradition of.
The way it is now? Okay, great.
Well, it
It
looks like
may be a bit more difficult with the technology of the new brooms these days.
maybe
but-
a little bit of slip than a bunch of old corn brooms
exactly.
there for sure. So
Well, on sheet 3, they got their stack done. So again, you can't enjoy any hospitality until you get room stack.
I see.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
you go. There you go.
They got it. They got it working here. Some gloves, a toque
Yeah.
I mean, it works.
to hold it, and then a little toast.
They're all smiles.
They
Listen,
got her done.
I'm going to take a little break here.
So back here now in the 5th end. So once again, after 4, it's tied at 3 apiece for Team Henderson versus Team Marshall from Fergus. And once again, trying to split the house here for Fergus. Scott was just a little, well, he's pretty close. I can't see the overhead down there, but he could be fairly close. But Billy Henderson is looking to draw around for them to sit. Just some of the other teams here from the Fergus Club that are playing on some of the other sheets here today. And they've made up some names for their team as well. The Spirit of York is the one that we were talking about on sheet 4. If we just pop over one to sheet 3, that's the Barn Burners, Greg Moulton, John Ferguson, Steve Otto, and Les Hunter, and they're currently down 3-1, but still a pretty tight game here. If we pop over to sheet 8, known as which is our sheet 2, we have the Forder Creekers, Chris Klein, Kyle Powell, Jeff Gleva, and Howard Coates, and they are currently actually down by 1 at 3-2. Once again, another pretty close game. And over on sheet 1, in sheet 1, the Canada Clubbers, that's Brian Gibbons skipping there, and Brian Clark, Lauren Wilson, and Mark Cripps. Now they've got a little bit of a wider score game here. After 4, it's 7-4 for Scotland. So a little bit more of a separation, 3-point separation for them, but a little bit more of a wide open game. Some bigger pointed ends there for them all. So if we take after 4, 16 for Scotland, and how's my math here? I think it's a 10 for Team Fergus. So we're here to Vice Rocks, Stuart Barr delivering, trying to come around as well. Front end hasn't touched it either, but it looks like it's starting to finish here. A nice shot. Right about the button. So Rick's looking just for a little tap. Now he's looking for about back 8 weight for Callum. Pretty proud Canadian. Great jacket he's got on. Pretty good line here, actually. It'll finish well. He didn't get into that outside to keep it straight. Scott and Paul are working hard. Sliver by that guard. Great shot. Keep it going. Back sitting on top. Got that little bump that Rick was looking for. So Scotland once again is going to try to bite that button. Working hard to keep, I think, more weight than line. Looks like he's got another great shot here too, just resting up against that Fergus Stone, but just moved it enough that it might be an opportunity now for Rick to get another one in there, but no, he's electing to put the guard up as being he is shot rock.
So Fergus sitting 1.
Fergus sitting 1.
Yep.
Nice draw to tap, but it's still left. Yeah, the Fergus group as shot.
So just to let you know, they have a nickname other than Team Fergus. They're also called Spirit of York.
Yes.
And so what had happened was the Scots named all their teams after Scottish distilleries. So the 5 Scottish team names are Oshitashin, Balvenie, Cregolashi, Dalwhinnie, and Adoro. And so a few weeks ago we came up with this idea that we would have a competition on this tour against Canadian or Ontario distilleries.
Gotcha. That's where that's coming
Yeah, so Spirit of York is actually a distillery that makes a rye whiskey in Toronto.
from. Gotcha. Yep.
And then we have Team Canada Club, which is
Well, good old Canadian club.
Seagram's.
Good old CC.
Yeah, but actually, a little story about that. Of course, they're no longer in Waterloo. They out in Manitoba.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we have Barn Burners, which is a Barn Burners rye made out of a little distillery in Oakville, which we're going to visit on the tour.
Super. Got a bottle of that for Christmas.
Oh,
so,
did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a distillery called Maverick. And then we have Crown Royal. And then we have the 40 Creekers, which is down in Grimsby.
Yep.
So we're having an internal competition who's going to win,
Okay.
whether it's going to be the Scotch or the Canadian rye whiskey.
So did the Scottish group bring over a bottle of each to?
I'm
to
sure
give
that
away,
they're
or?
in the bags. They haven't brought them all out just yet. I seen one last night at the table.
Billy makes his first shot, doesn't get past the guard, just ticks, pushes it out. Probably Rick is just looking for another guard here. He's still sitting shot.
So a little bit of history. Going back to the Strathcona Cup and page 11 of your passport.
Yes.
So something I didn't know, and just found out this week, last night, that the Cregolachi distillery, the final spike is in a town called Cregolachi.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So in Canada.
Jeez.
So, we're two countries that are almost connected by the hip.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So I think Rick's got his guard weight here. Front end is still sweeping pretty good.
So it looks like he's just satisfied to take his one and run.
We're going to be pretty difficult here. We don't have the overhead, but I don't know if they're looking at even hitting off their own rock to roll in, or
It could.
if he's just going to make a straight draw here. But
No, I think he's playing the in off and maybe eliminate the red rock and lay two. Be well buried. I think at this point in time, we got 14 rocks in play with
2 to go.
2 to go.
Yeah.
There's only 1 out of play.
So the ultimate scorer, of course, in curling is 8 in an end. That means all your rocks are in the house, counting. Have you ever had an 8-ender?
Not an 8-ender. I think I did have a 7-ender once.
Okay.
And then I think I got the 7-ender and almost lost the game.
Oh, gee. Well, you were celebrating so much.
Yeah.
You thought the game was over. I as well had a 7-ender once in the spiel. I felt bad for the other team, but it just happened that way. But
Well, probably for about 2 minutes you felt bad.
yeah, exactly. And then we were happy with the lead.
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, he just maybe a little lighter in weight, not sure right there, but anyways, it looks like a
I don't
sitting
think
up 1, but I'm not sure how Canada's or
Scott.
the Fergus team's going to get a second though, without knocking out their own here, but.
Oh, sorry, I missed part of that end. I had to go out and arrange for the bus driver.
Yes.
You know, give him the instructions for the remainder of the night, and he did take there are 5 teams here. Only 4 are playing today because it's a 4-sheeter club.
Right.
There's a 5th team, so one of the members of the club did take take that by team for a walk downtown, and
Sure.
I'm sure they might have stopped somewhere
Yes.
for some tea.
Yes.
You know,
We have a lot of tea here in Fergus. So Rick Marshall, not a real opportunity to get a second point, and doesn't want to mess up what he's already done. So the tie has been broken, and Fergus is up 4-3. Yeah, so pretty interesting. Yeah, there's certainly a lot of history here in Fergus, so it'd be kind of nice to. Jim Carter, who is our kind of local historian here at the Fergus Curling Club, I believe, took them on that walk and down to the gorge and see some other places. But we talked about this about early 1800s. We think that's quite old, but for these people from Scotland and through Europe, it was just kind of built yesterday, sort of thing. So, when you do travel to Europe and you see things built in 600-800, it's a little different than what we've seen here.
We do talk about the 1834, and the Fergus Club being one of the oldest, or the club in Canada. But there is a curler out here, and he comes from a curling club that was first started in 1716.
Wow.
So
they only beat us by 100 years.
That's right. So it was kind of funny when we were on the tour of the Elora Inn, they were talking about the mill being, it was 1842, I think, which is, so the curling club was here before the Elora Mill.
Right.
And of course, that probably pales in comparison to their mills over there that could be 300 or 400 years old.
Yeah, definitely.
From that standpoint. But
So,
I just wanted to mention we're enjoying a beverage here in a green can, and what happened is one of our stops on the tour, once we get back through after Niagara Falls and through Toronto again, out through King. I was going to stop on the King. So I found it interesting because we had to place all the teams on different sheet numbers.
Okay.
So we had to go out to 33 clubs, and we had to find out whether they were numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, or A, B, C, D.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and to sign the sheets. So we first had to go out to 33 clubs and find out what their sheet numbers or letters were. So obviously, second on my list was, or third on the list, this is game 3 of the tournament, was Fergus, and I find out they're numbered 1, 8, 3, 4. And I said, well, how complicated can this be going forward? I only got 29 more clubs to go.
Right.
So anyway, we got to the King Curling Club, and it's interesting, their sheets are lettered K-I-N-G.
Oh, my. Everybody's got to have their own spin on it, eh?
Exactly. So what we thought was a simple task ended up being
it's
a little bit more difficult, but it does give you some history of why the letters are numbered, what they are. So so I learned a little bit this fall.
There you go.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be done a certain way. Well, it's always interesting when you have a team from out of town come here, and I say to them, well, we're going to play on sheet 8. And they're like, how? You only have 4. But anyways.
So I'm going to go. So I mentioned that to a couple of my members back at the Milton Curling Club. And actually, our club started in 1964. And I said, well, why don't we change our sheets to read 1964? So I'm gaining some votes. So I don't know whether the next time you curl in Milton, whether you're going to, you might be curling on sheet 9.
Well, I'll mention to somebody, is this sheet 2 or sheet 9?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I hear it should be sheet 9.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll sign the petition.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how that'll go at the next AGM in Milton. So.
Well, you talk about guards. We're getting some guards here on this end, but they all seem to be on this left side that we're facing. So once again, get one behind it, and it might be a little tougher to get out.
So as we as we were making our way to Fenland Falls through King Curling, which is King Township, and then we go to York or Newmarket, and then our next trip is to Fenelon Falls. So one of the guys that are on the committee, he has a cottage up there and quite involved in the community and knows the curling guys up there. And so there's the Fenelon Falls Brewery. So several months ago, they came up with this idea. They wanted to make a Scottish ale for the tour. So you can come to the Fergus Curling Club, and they've labeled Fenelon Falls Brewing Company a Scottish ale just for this tour, and it's labeled on the back. If you want to read that, what it says on the back of the label with the logo. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, the Strathcona Cup competition is the oldest international curling competition in the world. It is contested every 5th year between Canada and Scotland, with each country acting as host every 10th year. And yes, has the logos there, and some of the other sponsors and logos of, well, actually logos of the club they're playing in it. So Fergus, Elora, looks like Fenelon Falls, that King Club.
These are all clubs
well.
that pre-ordered the beer to have in their club during the event.
Yeah.
You know, so not only is it a great beer, it actually tastes quite good.
Yeah.
It's a collector can as well. And you can take that home. You could get. I got my black marker here. You can get some of the guys to sign it for you.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah.
It'll be worth something in 100 years.
That's right. You can sell it on eBay next week.
In the 21-23 Strathcona Cup, it might be worth a bit of money.
That's right.
So still trying to solve getting into the house here in this end a little deeper, but Scotland's going to put one probably right around the tee line, a little open, and I'm sure Rick will be looking to take this out. We'll roll over. Hey, let's talk about this itinerary that you guys have. Like, you are on quite a masterful tour here of going to a lot of different curling clubs. And so once again, there is 3 different groups. There is the East Tour itinerary, where St. John's through the Maritimes end up in Ottawa. There is a Western tour of Western Canada, Winnipeg, throughout all the provinces. But this one here, you're off. You just came from Toronto last night, and you're heading to Mount Forest in the morning. Yep,
Mount Forest in the morning, and I have a good friend of mine that actually moved from Milton, he's actually sort of related. He's my nephew's father-in-law. His name is Skip Shornagel. So that's a good curling name.
Very much so. I hope he's not the lead.
No, he's not, but Skip's not curled in many years, but oddly enough, I didn't know this, and he hasn't curled for a long, long time, but Skip actually went to this, won the British Columbia Schoolboy Championship, and went to the Canadian Schoolboy Championships back in the late 60s and early 70s. Might have been called the Pepsi back then. I can't remember all the names of the events.
Right.
So he's, him and his wife are going to come out and just watch and help out. Might take us on a tour of Mount Forest, in the bus, so with the Buy team.
Nice.
So then we head up to Owen Sound, over to Port Elgin, and so there's quite a committee there in Port Elgin, including Doug Flowers, who is owner of Gold Line Curling Supplies, which is one of the largest curling supply companies in the world.
Right.
And Bill Streeter had my job. 10 years ago, Bill Streeter did my job as a courier for the tour here.
Great.
And then we head down to Ilderton and London.
Yep.
Highland Community Center, then over to Simcoe. One of the things I have to do, I do have to teach the guys how to sing Stompin' Tom's Tilsonburg song when they get down before I get there.
Well, in the opening ceremonies, they sang, so they might be good singers here. Anyways, here in this end, nice shot for take a roll over into the 4-foot, but looks like Stuart Barr is going to be taking that out, and Scotland sitting 2. But maybe an opportunity. Rick's just wanting a hit and roll. could have gone maybe the other way to try to double and then roll on the other side, but this is what maybe a little easier shot.
Yeah. So our next stop is Niagara Falls, and Dave Grimo is organizing that event down in Niagara Falls. But one of the cool things that Dave Grimo has arranged is on the 17th of January, which would be next Tuesday.
Yep.
At 8 p.m. The American Falls are going to be lit up in blue and white for the Scots.
Oh, wow.
And the Horseshoe Falls are going to be red and white for Canada.
Oh,
And on
how
the
awesome is that?
Yeah, and that'll repeat again on the 18th at 10 p.m. So it is kind of cool. You can watch that if you go into Niagara Falls. There's quite a few webcams that you can, we're going to create some links once I get the links and confirm the times, but you'll be able to watch that. It may go viral back in Scotland.
I would think so.
It might be on headline news and BBC, I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, probably. Probably. Good takeout there by Rick Marshall. Scott Gordon working pretty hard there on the broom to get that to curl. Slipped a little, but luckily he didn't take out any rocks. But anyways, chance for Billy Henderson here for yet another takeout. Needs to keep it, but he doesn't do that jam, but I think he's got enough ice here that he'll probably just sit and stick.
Yeah, I think so. Not when he's about to shoot, though. No, I know. He's not.
Could be a little wide.
He looks a little wide, actually.
Might have accustomed with some weight.
Boardish weight, but opportunity, he's it's above the tee, so competitors can't sweep that one out, but it does roll out far enough that it looks close. Who would be a second shot here? Either Fergus or Scotland, but if they're looking to freeze back on that back yellow now, Rick's second shot. Scotland does have the hammer in this end.
So yeah, the tour then comes back down through Lindsay and Tam Heather Curling Club, and actually we have silver gold medals. Mike Harris and Mr. Hart are going to be there, and Tim Marsh that all played in Briars, previous Briars, and obviously silver medalists at Nagano Olympics.
Nice.
And they're going to be at that event. Then we're off to Unionville, and then the Robbie Burns dinner at Donalda. And
Rick looks a little light on this shot. It's curling quite a bit. Actually, at the same time, they need to almost, if they're going to get by that guard, they are. And they will stay shot. Not exactly where they wanted to be, but
I would have thought that the takeout might have been there. Delay two.
Sure.
But he doesn't have the hammer, so he's given Billy here an opportunity to actually score two and maybe a measure for three. We don't know.
Right. Just a little update on sheet 3. We have after 5, they're tied. Sheet 8, Scotland's up 5-2. Bit of a runaway on sheet 1. Scotland's up 10-4.
Yep.
So the Fergus group there has a little bit of work to do to get themselves back to a tying measure at least, but we'll see how this ends here in the 6th.
So when you total that up, we have 15, 18, and 3, 21 for Scotland.
And we have less.
You have less.
Yeah, we have less. Yeah.
But keep in mind, coming into today's competition, I think Canada was up 43 points overall so far,
well,
year to date. Yeah, so.
Okay. So look at this is maybe try to tick this, but he just by. but he does stay as shot rock, hitting his own rock.
Opportunity missed.
Wants to do it here, but
So once again, tight game. It's nice to have a tight game sometimes. So yeah, just continue on this schedule. We'll just finish it off here. So you guys are going right through.
Yep. So so after we leave Robbie Burns Day, which is the 25th of January, we head to Trenton. And I know in Trenton they got a nice day for the bye team there. They're going to go to the Aircraft Museum.
Nice. Yep.
Then we're off to Kingston, which is home of curling. Kingston and Cataraqui Club. Ken Thompson, who many people might know, wrote the Ontario Curling Report for many years as the author and editor of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Ken's involved, and he's had different executive positions in the OCA, so they're hosting for 2 days there.
Okay.
Next stop is Prescott. Now, this is pretty cool. So 3 of the teams are actually going to play that day in the curling club. 2 of the teams are going to get paraded downtown, and they're going to have their 2 games on the river on the ice.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So the fire trucks will be out and everything else, and then so that'll be exciting. Let's hopefully they're going to have some cold weather and they got some ice to play on, and they don't, because the rocks kind of sink pretty quick.
They are. They do have some weight to them, for sure.
I'm going to tell you, we were at the Toronto Cricket Club last night.
Okay.
And I never knew this, and I've been to that club many times over the years, either curling or lawn bowling. But in their trophy case was a curling stone found in a church, and the curling stone was dated back to 1648.
Wow. Wow.
1648.
1648.
Yeah. And so I actually had my picture taken with the curling rock. I almost had tears coming to my eyes, but so the more you go around this country and visit places, kind of the cool things that are happening, you know, in every community. So then we go to Montreal, and so there's 3 clubs involved there: Pointe Claire, Royal, Montreal. Oh, actually, there's 4 clubs: Montreal West, and then Bay du Jour.
Okay.
And so that's actually when the East Tour meets up with the Central Tour. Then they head off to Ottawa. There's one more game for us in North Granville, and then we're at the Ottawa Country Club, Hunt Club, sorry.
Oh, nice.
At the Hunt Club for the final day, and that's where I'll get to play 1 game.
Okay.
Yeah, so I actually get to play against whoever I want to play against. So me and Jeremy are in charge of making up the team. So well, we're going to have some fun.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
And those games count too.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It all counts.
Exactly.
Counts.
So it'd be nice to keep it close and cause some more excitement.
Oh,
and,
of course.
You know, nobody likes to run away. And
are you guys getting updates from the East and the West tours?
Yeah, they. What happens is the websites are automatically within 15 minutes after the game.
Okay.
That's one of my jobs that I'm going to have to cut short after this, but I have to update the website so that all 3 tours, if you go to the website, strathconacup.ca,
right,
or the Scottish website, there's a scoreboard on there showing how the Central Tour is doing, how the East Tour is doing, and the West Tour, and the total overall score points.
Right.
So that's almost live.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're here Friday the 13th. Today's Friday the 13th.
Yeah, I know.
Don't talk about it. Anyways, so yeah, I believe this is being broadcast next week.
Yep.
So yes, there's still lots of time for you to go to strathconacup.ca to see what the results are, you know, of this overall tournament.
Yep. This is only game 3.
Yeah, so you got a
so
long way to go.
I got 30 more to go.
That's
30 more times. I'll be good at it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
So
we're on Second Rocks here now. Nice draw to the 4-foot by Scotland. Scott Gordon has an opportunity for takeout. They're jumping on it kind of right away. The line still looks pretty good. Scott had one earlier that just slivered by the guard, and I think he's well past here.
Same today.
Yep. Even Rick's jumping in for the sweep and take out that yellow rock. So currently Fergus sitting 2. Yeah, some of the history of, well, anything, you know, there's always a history. But yeah, here at the Fergus Curling Club, there's a lot of history as well. And we do actually have a medallion here that was won by a Fergus Curling Club in 1899. They won the Ontario Tankard, and that is sitting here in our club. So
wow,
pretty amazing. And we also have some other awards from early 1900s and even just some of those early rocks that they used on the Grand River back in 1834. Before you know, there was still 100 years before they even settled on an actual kind of curling club. So this actually facility here, the Fergus Curling Club, was the lean-to off the arena.
Yes.
Until I believe it was in the 50s when they said there was had to be a lot of arenas.
That's right.
Condemned for different reasons, and so the parking lot next door used to be the arena, so it was torn down.
I think I did play here when it was.
Did you? Okay.
Was lean-to, yeah.
Yes. So don't date yourself. Anyways, and then at that point in time, they were able to rebuild the building, add a 4th sheet, and here we are today at the Fergus Curling Club. It's another opportunity to get another rock in the house. Just a slight bump here, but actually it's on a pretty nice angle. If it was to be hit again, it would take that yellow rock right out. So Billy Henderson is looking for the freeze to the rock that's sitting on the button right now. Once again, Stuart Barr, 3rd delivering right now. 36 years of curling. Lots of great achievements in the past for his curling career as well. It's got a good line, but they're working pretty hard on it. It looks like it's going to come up a little short. So we expect that Fergus is sitting 1. We'll see what Rick is going to decide here. I think he's got, you know, either you guard and just protect the 1. Oh, he's going to try this bump. Why not? So it's almost like a double raise takeout here. So it'll be obviously our rock onto their yellow, onto our red, onto their yellow, and then takeout. But he's a little risky. He's going to go for the straight draw around instead.
So who do you think's sitting 1 there for sure?
I would say that Fergus is sitting 1, just the way that they're trying to protect the house.
He might be
here.
Just his weight.
Yeah, but it's finishing it actually. It might bump over the one that's in the house, and the shooter just rolls into the 8-foot.
So you think Fergus is still shot? It's hard to tell from
Yep, if we look on just on our side there, yep. Fergus is sitting easy. Yep. With Scotland sitting at the top of the house for second shot. And I could see why Rick was really wanting to that, because it looks like could be sitting second, third, maybe. Could have been 4-shot deal there, but he just elected to win the end, get the point, and put a little bit more pressure on Team Henderson to try to get in there. Which they're trying. Looks like everybody's out, and they're going to land up. Yeah, just racking on that guard, sitting at the top of the 12. suspect Rick will just want to put a guard up there so there's no tap opportunity at all. But just looking at all the situations here, both sides of the house. Yeah. Big breath by Callum. Deliver this rock here.
Well, he made the first one.
Yep.
So just sort of a long guard here.
Long guard. Like to bring it over a little bit more. There isn't any of that tap opportunity there, but I think it's going to finish off well here. Yep. Great shot by Callum here to protect the end. So it looks like that Scotland team is looking on the other side. There might be an opportunity for a little hit and roll.
Yep.
The angle is there for a double takeout. Once again, you know, Ken, it's also angles. That's so huge in this too.
Yeah.
You know, when you're playing off these hits.
So the you know, for people at home that haven't been out curling or ever touched a rock, the rocks are exactly 44 pounds in weight, and the majority, the stone, the most preferred stone is only a few stones or sort of granite that makes perfect curling stones, and that's actually in Scotland. It's an island called Elsa Craig.
Right.
And Billy might be close on this.
He is.
Yeah, they're sweeping it. It's all up to the sweepers.
Coming in. Oh, he moves it.
Oh, hey,
he
he's
makes
on
a
the
shot.
button. That's a beauty shot.
What a shot. What a shot. And especially for a side that they never even really looked at much.
Yeah. So Elsa Craig is a quarry on an island, and it doesn't look like much of an island, but it looks like a big curling rock stuck out in the ocean.
Okay. Makes sense.
You can Google that. But one of the interesting things is when we get down to Ilderton, we're getting hosted there by Wayne and Kim Tuck, and Wayne's father, Kim's father, owns Canadian Curling Stone. So he makes a competitor stone.
Okay.
So we're maybe going over there. I'm not so sure whether we're going to do there because they might steal our secrets how to make curling stones. So
Sure.
these are all trade secrets of the trade.
Yes.
It's like the golf ball industry, you know, who can make the best golf ball.
Yep.
So I'm not so sure whether we're going to be allowed inside their factory. But actually the South Tour in Scotland 5 years ago did get a tour of the Elsa Craig factory, how to make the curling stones. So.
Right.
But curling stones are, they're not cheap. They're $1,000 a piece, I think.
Yep.
You know, so they don't wear out too often.
No, we replaced ours here pre-COVID, and I think prior to that, I think they were replaced 34 years before that or something to that effect.
Yeah. So maybe if you divide that, by 34 years, it's not that expensive.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So it works out to $30 a year. So most people go through more golf balls than $30 a year in golf balls.
Yes. So quite a shot here for Rick. He's looking for a way to kind of maybe, it's his first rock of this end, try to open it up here a little bit, or be able to slide through the hole and make a bit of action in that
A little
house.
bit of a port here, but
yeah.
I think, he's going between the two reds. Is that the
certainly doable.
So they're on it right away. He may be on that guard. Oh, Paul. I think he's okay. I was watching his head, and he didn't hit his head. So I think he seems okay. Paul's okay, but tough military man. He can take it. I'm sure he's been through a lot worse than that. But so anyway, he's cleared off the front of the house there a little bit. So if Team Henderson's going to put up another guard, or If not, then there could be an opportunity for a little bit of action to move stuff around if Rick gets another spot to do that.
So Scotland is definitely, I think, sitting one.
Maybe.
Could be a measure for one, but hard to tell.
Yeah, well, they're certainly looking at it pretty closely, and make sure you don't move an angle that could be better for the competitor to hit and raise or hit and take out. Or
so, it's interesting what's happening in Ontario here, and with the combination of what's happening in Montreal and Quebec. And then back in Ottawa, the tour guys. But, there's some pretty interesting events happening out west and down east. I mean, who gets to come to Canada and go to a Newfie garage party?
I think any Canadian would like to go to a Newfie garage party.
Exactly. So I think that's on the tour so you might see that East tour. Their scores maybe drop for a day or two.
I see, yes. Yeah.
So they might not be that competitive.
Whoever the healthiest is coming out of that, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and that's the thing, all these local clubs get to take part of the festivities, but these guys got to do it over several days. Like,
30.
They got to pace themselves maybe a little bit. So, anyways. Looks like he's trying for a guard. He's gone out a little wide on this path, but if it finishes it, then...
Well, I think this is the sort of ice where you definitely don't want to be narrow.
Right.
Yes. So you can maybe afford to be a bit wide and let it curl.
Yep.
So I think that...
Yeah, and we really like to... thank the people that certainly done a lot for this Strathcona Cup. And we just talk about the ice. Andy Main here is the head ice master here at the club. Has been for a few years. Does a great job and trying to get it the best for all of our curlers here at the Fergus Curling Club. Today, Jim, Rick, and Wilf were also part of, and Ben were also part of getting things in shape for this. Going to some extra efforts on that. So really
what
good
about your sponsors that you had, Jason, at Elora Club? So were you made aware of all of them, or
maybe don't have quite all of them, but certainly a lot of work overall. We've had a lot of sponsors just for your overall aspect of things too. BDO has been large on that, Broker Link Insurance, and then the curling associations, and then a lot of curling clubs across Canada as well.
But even your own Fergus Scottish Highland Festival came up and sponsored both clubs.
Yes, the Scottish Highland Games is a huge event for us here. So Rick is just... Sorry, we just got a little thrown off by Paul falling there, but opened it up, but not to a point where it's going to help him here. But main concern is that Paul is okay.
So it's like maybe a steal for Scotland there.
Okay.
Maybe. So this one's going to come right down to the eighth end.
Yes.
So...
Yeah, so once again, here going into the eighth end, we have some of the other sheets just finishing up the seventh. Sheet one is on the eighth, a large
14-4.
14 is it now?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. So certainly the Scotland group there taking advantage of our Fergus friends, but still a great experience for our Fergus curlers to curl in this kind of event. They won't tell people the score of the game, but they'll certainly tell that they took part in it. Sometimes, just like golfers, curlers have short-term memory there as well. So
you'll notice on the master website the scores are not broken down by game.
Right.
They are just a total, for Canada-wide.
Sure.
And because in all fairness, it's very difficult for us to match teams, knowing who your 1, 2, 3, 4 teams are coming to the event when there's so many girls.
Yes.
And nobody has played against each other. I've never even watched these guys.
Sure.
I've only played against 3 of these guys in my life. So so the one guy I lost to hasn't won a game yet. So.
Oh, okay.
so
we won't talk about your curling ability then. Okay.
Yeah.
So the Scottish teams that are already set, they play as a team the whole time.
That's correct.
That they're here. So that's actually, they get to know how each other's tendencies are. And for some of them, they may never have played together before coming here, too.
That's correct. Yeah. So this is only day 2 of those guys curling together.
Yes.
And
what is the selection process? Is it just a sign-up deal, or how do they select the people to come?
I don't know exactly how they do it in Scotland, but when I went in 2018, it was by application.
Okay.
And so only 40 curlers are allowed to go every 10 years. And you have to pay your own way. And I would guesstimate 5 years ago, it probably cost me about $8,000.
Yep.
Plus your time off work. And but it wasn't necessarily the players that are chosen. It's what on their curling skills. It was really what they have given back to the sport of curling.
Okay.
Whether they are been presidents of the local curling club, or been on the board of directors, or been involved in youth curling, or been involved in an Ontario Curling or Ontario Curling Association, or the Canadian Curling Association. Okay. So it was really a reward for those people for all the volunteer hours that they put in to the sport. So so you got to hang around with a lot of guys that all have good ideas about how to promote the game of curling.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Why not? And it makes sense even, just looking at the bios of all the people that are here. They all have that, affiliation with their club and have done a lot with the club themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and they're different professionals. Whether they're chartered accountants or. Paul on our he's a general practitioner. He has his own. He's a medical doctor, so it's really nice to have him on.
Of course,
I haven't had to use him yet, but
and hopefully you don't.
But that's not his job on the tour.
Oh
no, he's the sheriff on the tour. So Paul is our sheriff. And So
and what's the sheriff's duties?
The sheriff's duties we do every morning. You might see on the itinerary we have what I call morning glasses.
Okay.
And at the morning glasses starts the day off with a certain mixture of gin and your flavor of juice or tonic or soda. But at that morning glasses, that's when players are fined for violations the day before.
Okay.
Yeah, so like this morning we got on the bus and we had to be here at a certain time, and Alistair Fife had forgot his shaving kit up in the hotel after he'd already checked out of the hotel.
Oh my.
So by the time he... So that set us about 15 minutes behind.
Okay.
So
when you have such a tight schedule, you need a sheriff.
That's right. So these fines can be assigned. And there's a couple of what we call, I think they're called clamors. They're people that report to the sheriff as to who should get fined the next day.
Ah, okay.
So the money raised from these morning glasses does pay the gratuity for the bus driver and other incidentals that we might have along the trip. So some of the fines that have been awarded so far, I got fined the first day.
On day one. So
on day one, I said, everybody on the bus by 7:30, and guess who was not there at 7:30, and the last person on the bus was me.
Oh, jeez. So now you know to shape up for the rest of the...
Exactly. So I was the first on the bus this morning.
Good for you.
Yeah. So I'm learning.
Good, good.
Yeah. It's painful. It's expensive, too.
I guess it would be, but I'm sure the bus driver likes it.
He will. At the end of the trip.
So here, a little bit more of a guard end, a little bit of a tap in. I think they were trying to go around Scotland and ended up just tapping, but keeping it in the open.
Well, it's not like you haven't seen.
Scott has an opportunity. Looks like he's going to probably nose this. Slight roll.
Told Cam to be but that's not happening.
So Scott's objective here is to obviously score his 2 points, try and win the game. Billy obviously would like to steal another point or two.
Sure.
You know, add to the total of today.
Yep. So going to do this takeout here. It's may just stay in if they hit nose.
I'm not a member, so I'm.
So once it,
I like that.
it'll be interesting to see what Rick does after this shot.
Yeah, I like
Looks like he's going to get a little bit of an inside roll
Texted Cam. Okay, I need 3 tickets.
and sitting at the top of the 12.
Yeah. Scott might just ignore that and try to draw around it.
But then, yeah.
Draw around the front center guards, get the first one in.
Yeah. So Rick is just pointing here to come to the top of the 12 for Callum to rest. Kind of get behind the pair of guards at the front that are offset each other's. So there's no opportunity for any kind of run back or anything like that. So pretty nice line here. Front end is sweeping, so maybe down a little bit of weight, but here it's starting to come here now.
Scott was like, maybe she shouldn't walk home.
Pretty close. Wow, that really hooked. Wow.
Yeah,
Now they got to get it up there if they're going to be shot, and they were just sneaking out to the other side. But Billy's going to ignore that and try to beat him on the draw.
He's like, look at my bag, look at this. He's handing him out. You can edit that out, right?
So it's staying out a little wide here, so maybe a tap. It's got a pretty good way they'll do something, but not exactly what they were looking for.
No, it's going to be in the way.
Yeah.
So, not all bad.
Little tilt of the head to Rick going, what should we do here? This seems like the easy one, but it's not only just taking it out, but where your shooter lands as well.
Yeah, he would like to probably hit it right on the nose and leave his own red one there.
Yeah.
Callum might be a
little bit tight, but I think they're holding it really well.
Yeah, runs down that center line.
Paul needs to hold on here, and he's going to have that nice roll over to that other. Nice shot to separate the two.
Well, that's all Callum can do. Is set up Scott for best he can.
So this is, coming into Skips Rocks here. It's near the end of the, going to be close to the end of our time. So once again, I think this has been a great opportunity for both Fergus and Elora to have the Strathcona Cup come. I'm not sure if we'll get another one in other years because they seem to move them around to many clubs.
One of the things that I noticed, I mean, if you do a really good job and it's easy on the committee,
right?
You're welcome back to host again.
I am sure.
So, I took a little bit of an adventure because I went out and the 5 clubs that I got to choose had never hosted before.
Right.
So it was a bit of a learning curve.
Sure, of course.
For the clubs to learn what it was all about.
Yeah.
And from that standpoint. So I personally had 5 clubs that I had to pick. So I did pick Elora, Fergus, Mount Forest, Owen Sound, and Elderton.
Sure.
Who had never hosted. I don't think any of them had hosted it before.
Great.
So it was starting from scratch. But 10 years from now, they'll they'll be at the they're all done a great job so far, so they'll
Yes.
probably be at the top of the list.
Great.
Because the Scots will want to come back to those 5 clubs, I hope.
Super. So the rest of the evening is going to be obviously dinner for the people, and we have a band coming in. But sorry, I'm just going to go back to the game here. Billy's just maybe a little shorter than he wants to. He's obviously shot rock, but in the open for Rick to make this takeout. But certainly the club here has done a lot of work. And really appreciate the group from Scotland, because we have Friday night mixed curling here. And they said, do not change your curling schedule for us.
Exactly.
And so we still will have Friday night curling, mixed curling here, and certainly a good time after with this group. So we really appreciate the opportunity to be part of this. So here's Rick Marshall. First shot of his skip stones. Trying to take out, he looks like he has quite a bit of weight. It's kind of hanging out. Trying to make this rock curl. A little directional curling here, trying to make that rock curl. He's going to take it, but he may, roll out. So they're still sitting 2.
So Billy's a drawer. I don't think he's big on the takeouts, so he'll try this draw.
Yep.
Just threw it. He has to make an adjustment.
For the name.
Yeah, and as any person that is delivering a rock, it was usually the sweeper's fault that didn't get it to the exact spot that you wanted it to. So anyways, I always blame my guys when they don't sweep enough to get it to the spot. But anyways, I'm sure these guys will be in
Hey, listen, I play Vice for my daughter, so I can't complain about anything.
because you're at the other end. You don't have to sweep one of her rocks.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a flick at the end there. I'm not sure if that was for line or for weight, but it looks actually pretty good. They haven't got a broom to it yet,
Got
but
a curl. It's got a curl.
It's
want
coming.
to get it off that red one.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're waiting for now for the tap, and it's going to sit up high here, and I think that's going to be a little short. So here is Rick Marshall from Fergus. Final shot. He is sitting 1 already
Be interesting
for the tie, but if he takes this out, he should be sitting 2nd for the win. So very important and great. Hey, we got a great last shot of this game here. Sheet 4 of the Strathcona Cup. Marshall versus Henderson. Rick Marshall's final stone to see the result of this game.
So it's coming down.
Yep.
The sweepers aren't on it.
No, a little wide in
Callum.
my thinking, but here they are. They're a little directional sweeping, trying to get it to come over. It may actually work out a little tap over, and sitting 2,
And
Fergus.
Maybe 3.
Maybe 3, but we need 2 for the win. Yes, but very important. You're right.
Yeah.
Yes, Fergus wins the game, but every point counts.
Exactly.
When it comes to the overall total. So a win here for Fergus on sheet 4. Looks like probably 6-5. Exciting game here on Whiteman TV.
So that's Spirit of York has breaking rights on the rye whiskey in that game.
Okay.
Over Ashertush and Scotch.
So if you're heading to the LCBO tonight, get some Spirit of the York. Leave the Ashwagan on the shelf.
That's right.
Ken, it's been a pleasure being with you.
Yeah. Nice seeing you again
today.
after 20 odd years.
Yeah, exactly. But great game. Thanks to everybody that took part once again in the overall organization of this cup, the opportunity that we had, and our pleasure to bring you this curling action from the Fergus Curling Club.
Thank you.